We are thrilled to be here to announce an exciting initiative with the World Economic Forum. You know, Michigan is the state that has made things work. We have put the world on wheels for generations. We've made life-changing, life-saving medicines, and we've always been focused on solving problems in a creative way. And today, again, Michigan takes center stage on the global stage. We're proud to welcome the World Economic Forum's new center here to Michigan as a signal that our state continues to lead North America, and I would argue the world, into the next generation of high-tech manufacturing. Through the center, the U.S. Center and programs like our Industry 4.0 initiative with Automation Alley and the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, we are strengthening our leadership in advanced manufacturing and entrepreneurship, not only today, but for generations to come. We're not only creating great jobs, we're creating great job markets. And we couldn't be more honored to partner with our corporate partners, the World Economic Development Forum, Automation Alley, and others. So thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to the Honorable Gretchen Whitmer, Governor of the state of Michigan.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Quentin, and you can tell we've got a phenomenal leader at the MEDC who's helping spearhead a lot of the great work that's happening across our state. You know, for generations, Michigan has been driving technological advancements that reach every part of the globe, from cars to life-saving medicines. And this is true in our strong defense, our automotive, and our aerospace sectors, to growth in advanced materials like plastics and lightweight carbons, machinery manufacturing for automation and robotics. We're changing the way that things are made in the 21st century and creating good-paying jobs in the process. The World Economic Forum's decision to put their U.S. Center for Advanced Manufacturing in Michigan is proof of our strengths, and it will increase the gravitational pull for jobs and for talent and for investment. And our manufacturing and design heritage and our innovative, hardworking people are creating unmatched opportunities for businesses of all sizes to grow and to thrive in the state of Michigan. So when any business in the world, specifically mobility, electrification, and advanced manufacturing, is deciding where to expand, I hope all know the answer is very clear. It's in the state of Michigan. So I'm awfully glad to be here with all of you and appreciate the partnership. This is an exciting opportunity for our state, and we'll continue to put our foot on the accelerator. Handing it to you, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Governor. We're extremely proud in Oakland County that the first and only U.S. Advanced Manufacturing Center of the World Economic Forum is going to be right here in Michigan, in our county. And its goal, of course, is to support the state, our region, and frankly, North America in increasing the use of advanced manufacturing. So I hope this sends a message to the world that Michigan is no longer the Rust Belt, right? Tied to this antiquated notion of assembly lines and shuttered factories. By embracing the innovation that the World Economic Forum embraces and the new technologies, along with this new center in Troy, Michigan at Automation Alley, we're poised to lead the nation and, frankly, the world in advanced manufacturing. So Oakland County is going to invest $3 million over the next 3 years to support this center. And we couldn't be more excited to do it because we think this will directly benefit the more than 2,500 small and mid-sized manufacturing companies in Oakland County, but not just Oakland County, our region and our state. And so that's why this is so important. We leaned into this during COVID, working with our partner, Automation Alley, and our manufacturing companies by launching something that we called Project Diamond. It's a fancy term for something that's very simple, but part of this advanced manufacturing. You know those 3D printers that you hear about and that you've seen? They're so critical to helping our manufacturers get up to speed in Industry 4.0. Let me give you an example of one of the companies. I visited them in Rochester Hills, Air and Liquid Systems. They make fasteners that before they got the printer from Automation Alley and Oakland County, a fastener used to cost them about $98 to produce a fastener. Now with their 3D printer, they're about $2.45. So it's a game changer in terms of the cost, but also the speed, because these printers are connected to other printers at other companies. So they can now win work and contracts for larger orders than they would have been able to do on their own because they're connected to a network. And that's part of the beauty of Industry 4.0 is that you're part of a network of other manufacturers, right? By the way, another example, it's not just about producing things like fasteners, but we have a company now called Total Door in Waterford that's actually making a piece that goes into the tourniquets that are going to the Ukraine to help the people on the front lines in the Ukraine. So these things can be used for a lot of different reasons. So needless to say, we're really excited about having this in Oakland County and in Michigan to show the world that Michigan can lead in advanced manufacturing and the revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, which is Industry 4.0. So with that, I want to turn it over to our the executive director of Automation Alley in Troy, Michigan, where this center will be located, Tom Kelly.
Thanks, Dave. And I just want to say one thing. Woohoo! I am so excited. I'm really sorry to all the live streamers. It's good news. That's right. So listen, thank you to the leadership of Governor Whitmer. Thank you to Dave Coulter. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Dave Woodward for Oakland County Commission. Is he here?
Yes, he is.
Dave has been such a great leader on this. And this didn't happen overnight. This has been a methodical, very carefully orchestrated relationship that we have built with the World Economic Forum over many, many years. And they look to us as leaders, and we look to them as leaders. And it's mutual. Michigan created the second industrial revolution. We created so much wealth that Detroit was the richest city in the world at one point. And we lost our way a little bit over the last couple of years, not by our own doing, but because the world changed around us and China came on board. And we had to deal with a lot of major issues in manufacturing. Well, guess what? The fourth industrial revolution is about stitching together the economy where everybody is able to be digitized and sharing high value add work. That plays right to our strengths. And so I'm so delighted that our governor, our local leaders, the World Economic Forum, they believe in Michigan, and so do I. I'm the most enthusiastic person you'll ever meet when it comes to manufacturing, and by damn, we're going to change the world again together. So I'll pass it over to Francisco.
Well, Tom, thank you very much for that great intro. I mean, for those who are not familiar with it, the World Economic Forum is an international organization for public-private cooperation. We're working with government, businesses, civil society, and academia to address some of the most pressing challenges that our society and the world is facing today. And within that framework, I lead our work and stream on advanced manufacturing and value chains. And what I should say is that today is a very special date for us because in collaboration with Automation Alley, we are launching this new center partnering with the state and the government of Michigan and Oakland County, which we believe can make a huge difference when it comes to helping companies and communities transform the world's advanced manufacturing. Advanced manufacturing, with today, it's unlocking not just efficiency, productivity, but also innovation, growth, and also enabling the transition towards sustainability and workforce engagement, which is extremely important. So with that, I look forward to the conversation. I would like to introduce Cynthia Hutchison, who is a BPS Automation Alley, a very special person who spent a full year with us at the forum and will be taking over the role of head of the new center. So Cynthia, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Leave that for AB in a minute. Thank you all. Let me make sure I'm on. You're on. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you very much for the introduction, Francisco. That was very kind. It's wonderful to be here. This is a big day. About 3 or 4 years ago, we had what it felt like a relatively informal conversation with the World Economic Forum in which there was a discussion that perhaps after the Great Recession of 2008, 9, and 10, Michigan had retained more manufacturing prowess than any other state in the region. So here we are, we fast forward 3 or 4 years, and we're at this moment. So now I want to ask a couple questions around the table. So Governor, did you expect that we would become that big a fulcrum that would be managing, and essentially the word you used was similar to mine, I say we're a magnet for growth for Michigan. Did you see that that opportunity was coming, and how do you think this center can magnify our strengths?
Did I foresee this coming? Well, any governor worth their salt has got to say yes to that answer, right? I mean, every Michigander knows the incredible strengths and unique things that we offer as a state. I think it was fantastic, the relationships that have been built over the years to ensure that an investment like this, opportunity like this happens in Michigan. It's should be a source of pride for everyone, whether you are, regardless of what sector of our economy you're in. Advanced manufacturing is what's powered the state, what grew the middle class, what made us, the arsenal of democracy. And the world has changed. We're all a little longer in the tooth. There's a lot of developments that have happened, and yet the core of who we are remains the same. And I think that's why the opportunity in front of us is, I see it, I'm excited about it, and I'm grateful that we're here in the partnership that got us here.
Thank you. Dave Coulter.
Yeah.
So I know Oakland County has been a huge participant, huge active supporter of Automation Alley for many, many years. They actually founded Automation Alley, but Oakland County is a big partner. Now with the advanced manufacturing, of course, I was going to ask you to tell me what you're doing for your businesses in Oakland County. You already shared some of that, but tell me on a broader scale, how critical is advanced manufacturing to the county's success?
Yeah, we saw this even during COVID. As we were giving grants to our manufacturers, we said, let's not just give them money, let's give them the tools they need to compete in the future. So they got printers from us, is more so than they got money from us. And we've distributed 250 of them already, but we're going to do a whole lot more, and that's like the company I talked to you about. But the next step, and what this partnership and others like this are going to allow us to do, as Tom said, is to allow them to be part of a network, because that's the real exponential game changer in this. It's one thing to have that kind of printer or the other kinds of technology to reduce your costs and speed to market, but to be able to network with other manufacturers, to be able to win these bigger contracts all over the world. And that's the thing. This is going to be the only center, just to be clear, in North America. And so this center will be connected, as you know, around the world to connect our businesses here, and not just Oakland County, but in the state. This is, I think, just as exciting for the state as it is for our county to connect them in this new advanced space so that they can compete. And I just think it's a critical game changer for our manufacturing sector, which I've said since I've become county executive, I'm still bullish on. Manufacturing is still an important sector, but you got to stay ahead of the curve. And as you know, and I'm sure we're going to talk to you, you got to stay ahead of the curve because the game is changing fast.
Thank you. Thank you. Tom Kelly. Tom Kelly is my CEO, by the way. I work directly for Tom as well.
So it better be a good question.
There's always pressure on these questions, so I give him the hard stuff. No, Tom, so about 6 years ago, when you took over as leader at Automation Alley, you made a dramatic pivot into direct Industry 4.0. Talk a little bit about what motivated that and how critical you thought that was to the region.
Well, what I saw happening was this transformation that was coming, the digitization of everything. You saw what was happening in other industries. You saw what Uber was doing in the transportation space, what Netflix is doing, what Amazon was doing to retail, and on and on and on and on. And manufacturing had always used technology. But the risk, there's risk. The governor knows this. That's why we're doing this whole Industry 4 initiative for smalls. The risk is that we've always used technology as a tool to manage the business that we know. And today, technology is the business model. And that is a fundamental shift. Every business in the world has to become a software company first that happens to be an X, right? Jamie Dimon says we're a software company that happens to be in finance. Mary Barra has said, I always want to be known if I get to retirement, I want to look back and people view GM as a software company that happens to make automobiles. It's not just for the bigs. Every company has to become a software-first business. And in manufacturing, that's what we see. So that's why we started down this path. We said, Michigan has all the opportunity and skills to make this transition. It's actually, manufacturing is coming back to us. But what we saw in the state, and thanks to the governor for saying, no, we're going to focus on manufacturing, what we were seeing in the state was, let's diversify away. The world has changed. Manufacturing's for, low-cost countries. At the same time, this is what happened. You're always fighting the last war. As manufacturing was starting to come back to high value-add areas, there was a talk of maybe getting out of this. So together with the governor and the county and with the World Economic Forum, we saw this path as a good path for Michigan. The last thing I'll say is manufacturing accounts for 20% of GDP and 15% of employment. It's carrying the weight of 5% of something else somewhere. It's still the place to be for high value, high wealth creation. And that's why we focus on it. So that's what I saw, and that's what the governor saw, and it's been a great ride so far. We're just getting started.
Fantastic. You know, at the end of this, everybody's going to know a lot about advanced manufacturing because I'm going to ask everybody a various take on it. So, Francisco, the World Economic Forum is so well known for social issues and the variety of programs that they do. People know World Economic Forum associated with hunger, with solving big global problems that no one entity can solve themselves. So as a public-private partnership with that level of commitment, how do you see the advanced manufacturing sector feeding into dramatic changes in the world?
Well, absolutely. I think that what we should mention before is that when you look at the global outlook, right, the combination of the pandemic, COVID-19, with climate change, with the geopolitical tensions that we are seeing now, I mean, manufacturing is trying to sail through a perfect storm, right, that it's unprecedented. We never saw the level of disruptions that we are seeing today. And that storm comes, of course, with big challenges, but also opportunity. And advanced manufacturing can be part of the solution. Just look at how some companies here in the state of Michigan, but all across the US and across the world, are using advanced manufacturing technologies to unlock efficiency, productivity, enable growth, and at the same time, as I mentioned before, enabling the transition towards more sustainable production process and systems, and engaging workers in new ways when it comes to unlocking productivity. I think what is important is that to unlock that potential that advanced manufacturing brings to the table, we need collaboration, public-private collaboration, and that's needed so that companies can share best practices, lessons learned, align on the next strategies that need to be put in place. And also, Tom, you mentioned that point before, to make sure that no one is left behind. I think supporting small and medium-sized businesses, which is part of the work that Automation ID is doing in coming on board on this transformational journey, is extremely important as well.
Thank you. AB. So we hadn't introduced AB Goen, president of Hemlock Semiconductor. And I don't think there's anybody in this room who doesn't know we've had a semiconductor shortage for quite some time. Come on, AB, we need some help from you. No, talk to me a little bit about your industry, how it was impacted, how it got into this situation, and what you're doing going forward.
Thank you, Cynthia, for the question. So for people who don't know Hemlock Semiconductor, we're based in Hemlock, which is in mid-Michigan. And we've been around since 1961. So we make ultra-pure, hyper-pure polysilicon, which is the fundamental building block for the silicon chip in the semiconductors, for the solar panels, and for the battery storage. So we're the key linchpin to all of the growth in this industry. So advanced manufacturing is what we've been doing. But now what we involve in, advanced manufacturing industry 4.0, it's all about using robotics. So we're moving into that. We're using a lot of big data, lot of analytics, and we're doing some work on 3D for our maintenance spares. So for us, this is crucial for us to stay competitive because this really affects the as the chips that the semiconductor customers like Intel are getting more and more sophisticated. We need to have a more pure form of polysilicon. And to be able to do that, we need to run big data and process control on this thing. So 4.0 is crucial for our industry. And this center, I think, is great for Michigan. It will bring R&D capability. It will bring lots of skilled jobs here, and it will keep Michigan in the forefront of the manufacturing capital of the United States. So I'm very excited personally that the center's come in. I want to thank the governor for making this happen with MEDC and the other folks over here. So thank you.
Thank you. I think I've got this.
We're going back around?
We're
Okay.
going back around.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I am not keeping track of time, so I'm hoping Courtney. I think Courtney.
I guarantee my staff.
I guarantee they are too. Thank you. They've been awesome. No, I was just going to ask you again a little bit more about. It's really exciting. We're really essentially launching the center on Monday. So Monday, June 6th, this opens, and we have an entirely new business model here where the World Economic Forum is partnered with Automation Alley, which is funded by the MEDC in Oakland County to support this exciting center. And I want to think a little bit, ask you how we can attract other states and people here to make sure that they see what we can do. We'll be exporting we know this is a national center. We expect people from around the U.S. to be part of it. But in what way do you see it as being an attraction that makes people see what's special about Michigan?
I think as we look at Automation Alley, we look at this new center, these will be, this is an additional tool in our toolbox as we tell the Michigan story, as we showcase some of the phenomenal cutting edge research that is happening, collaboration, manufacturing. We just cut the ribbon on the FRIB at Michigan State. This is, I think most people, and I would include me in them, we're not talking about how to split atoms and move electrons and, just the incredible things that are happening at the FRIB. We don't talk about that every single day, but we really need to get comfortable in the space of promoting some of the great opportunities that Michigan has to give. And Quentin and I, and we work in conjunction with stakeholders at the municipal level, who are already in semiconductors, as we are refining how we draw in additional investment into Michigan. We want to make sure Hemlock can grow in Michigan. We want to ensure that others come to Michigan to solve problems, and this is going to be another important tool in our whole tool shed of things that we have to offer that you can't find anywhere else. And I know we touched a minute on COVID, and no one wants to talk about COVID less than I do, but I will say that one of the lessons of the last couple of years is that it is a homeland security issue if we're not doing advanced manufacturing in the U.S. and in Michigan in particular. We do it better than anyone else. This is another opportunity for us to tell that story, and I think that that's going to be great across industry, and that's why we're really excited about this development.
Thank you. That's a fabulous insight, the Homeland Security issue. Without truly having track of time, I want to make sure we have time for media. So shall we go to a little bit of a Q&A?
Yeah, that would be perfect. Yes, sir. If anyone from the media has any questions, please let us know. Now's the time. We'd be happy to take them.
He explained everything really well.
Do you have goals for how many new jobs, how many businesses you want to reach out to?
Data guy, what do you think?
Yeah, that's right. So we'll be putting those together, but the idea is first we need to stand up the center, and then we need to attract national and international large manufacturers who help set the agenda with us. So it would be disingenuous to say, hey guys, come in, it's a trap, this is what you got to do together. What we need to be able to do is we have to have an adult conversation and say, this is where the world is going. This is how it's changing. And by the way, what's interesting, if you ask any CEO, and I won't call you out for this, but if you ask any CEO, they don't know where the world is going either. It is changing that rapidly. For the last 50 years in manufacturing, maybe even 100 years, it was very predictable. You had a market, you tried to manage your supply to what the demand was, and all of that's going out the window because while you're managing supply and demand, new technology is changing the business model entirely, which makes it obsolete. And so the jobs will come, I have no doubt, because we are positioned to create those jobs. In other words, we have all the tools. We just have to have our industries recognize that they need to change faster. That's the risk we face as a state, is that we created so much wealth around Industry 2.0 that wealth, we want to protect it. We don't want to change it. Why would I go over there? I'm making money over here, Tom. And that's the message we need the press to help us tell, is that we have to change faster. And that's what this center does. It creates change at an accelerated rate.
And I will give one other statistic, though, because this is about attracting work to Michigan and to Oakland County in particular for me, but it's also about retaining it. We have 67,000 workers in small and medium-sized manufacturing in Oakland County. 67,000. So preserving those jobs is going to require us to do this, in addition to the job attraction. So I just want to point out this is still a significant, as you mentioned, a significant part of the economy in our state and in our county.
Eric, did you have something?
Yes, and this might be for Governor Whitmer as a state-wide issue, but we keep hearing about these plans about adding jobs, adding jobs, adding jobs. We're already facing a worker shortage in a lot of areas. Is there any worry that we're just diluting the pool even further and creating more of an issue, or how do we fill the jobs that we have open and still add more?
I think workforce is on front of mind for everyone. Everyone at this conference will tell you that they are concerned about that. Part of the work that we need to be doing as a state is to close our skills gap. We're making great strides, frankly. When I took office, I set our goal at 60 by 30. 60% of our adult workforce with a post-secondary certificate or degree by 2030. We were at 45% when we started. Despite all of the challenges we've had, it's up to over 49% now, so we're making strides, like real measurable strides, where we're able to upskill our population, get them into better paying jobs. Ultimately, though, we're going to have to work together to grow our population, holding on to young people, luring talent to Michigan from around the globe, but also from around the country. We've got a powerful story to tell, a high quality of life, a low cost of living. If you talk to Rick Wallace from KLA, he'll tell you he has an easier job recruiting to their second headquarters, which is in Washtenaw County, Michigan, than they do in their primary headquarters in Silicon Valley. We've got a unique story to tell, but obviously this has got to be all hands on deck for us to focus on growing this population, making Michigan a place where more people want to reside. 21% of the world's fresh water. There are unique things about this state that are great selling points, but I think we've all got to buy into and grab onto that goal and work toward making sure we achieve it.
If I could just add, because I think the governor makes a great point about growing our population. You know, one of the advantages is this is going to connect us globally, and so that we can attract foreign investment, right? In Oakland County, for instance, we would have actually declined in population over the past decade had it not been for foreign-born residents. So we have got to begin to embrace foreign-born residents and companies in a much more aggressive way if we're going to grow as a state in a region, which we need to do to compete to other regions. So I think this kind of center exactly positions us to try to do that more.
Perfect. We have time for one more.
So what is the relationship between inflation and manufacturing progress, especially when it comes to making sure that when people come in for the job, they're given a competitive salary, and on top of that, making sure that we have the materials for this manufacturing?
So inflation is a result of too many dollars chasing too few goods, right? And that's happening in the labor pool as well. Industry 4.0 is the solution for wage inflation. Remember, in the 60s and 70s, we all know automation was a dirty word in Michigan because it was associated with job loss, right? It was an equation where if a robot came in, labor went away. And so we got steeled to that said automation is a bad thing. In the fourth industrial revolution, this is again how the world has changed and we're still fighting the battle of the past. Automation, there are no people to do the work. So if you can automate and get more productive, you can pay those people higher wages for better jobs. That's what we want to have happen in Michigan. We want to create an environment where we can pay the very highest wages because we're the most productive. And how you become the most productive is you actually create automation and efficiency. So these collaborative robots that are going in all over, these are a good thing because they allow our manufacturers to grow their wages faster than those that are not putting in those robots.
Just maybe one comment. One of the things that we learned throughout the pandemic is that the future of manufacturing is not about technology, but technology and people. Companies are trying to find a new balance in between automation and workforce augmentation through advanced manufacturing technologies. Technologies can play a huge role when it comes to upskilling and reskilling that can help them drive productivity and competitiveness, which is one of the priorities.
And I want to close and thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the governor's team for organizing this, thank the press because we need you to tell our story. We're glad you're all here, and thanks to each of our speakers.
All right, thank you.